Constitutional Conversations is a series of discussions by America's leading scholars about the principles, framing, ratification, and implementation of constitutional government in the United States. This series is hosted by the James Madison Memorial Fellowship Foundation of Alexandria, Virginia.
New Jersey is the exception that proves the rule about the effect of the American Revolution on women. In all of the states, with the start of the American Revolution, the Continental Congress required that the states revisit their colonial charters and write a state constitution. And so each of the states did that, and many of the states changed or altered the property qualifications for voting. They often lowered those. In New Jersey, what they did is they kept a property qualification for voting. 50 pounds of proclamation money was required to vote in New Jersey. However, what they said in New Jersey, what the New Jersey State Constitution of 1776 said, was that all inhabitants who possessed 50 pounds of proclamation money could vote. So this phrasing was what we would call gender neutral. In other words, it didn't specify that only white males could vote. Now, this in and of itself was not unique. Some other states had a gender neutral clause with regard to voting. But what was unique was that in 1790 and in 1796, the New Jersey legislature passed voting laws that referred to voters by using the terms he and she. So they specifically wanted to enfranchise women. And we have evidence from New Jersey that women actually did vote in numerous elections at all levels, local, state, and federal, from the 1790s through 1807. Now, why did New Jersey do this? Well, this is the great unanswered question because we don't have the sources to really prove why they did it. But what we can infer is that the logic of the American Revolution, of revolutionary ideology, was no taxation without representation. And unmarried women and widows paid taxes if they owned property. So these women then, who owned property and paid taxes, were then allowed to vote. So this doesn't enfranchise married women. It doesn't enfranchise young women, but there was a portion of women that were enfranchised. In other words, the New Jersey legislators, unlike the legislators in all the other colonies, took the ideals of the American Revolution about no taxation without representation to their logical conclusion and said it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, if you own property, you can vote. And again, we have evidence that women did vote and were the decisive factors in a number of elections in New Jersey from the 1790s through the early 19th century. So this was really the case that showed that some people were thinking about the meaning of revolutionary ideology for women, that they understood that the implications of revolutionary ideology could be applied to women. People like Abigail Adams also thought about this when she wrote her famous letter to John Adams about remembering the ladies. But New Jersey was the state that actually took that ideal and put it into practice. Now, unfortunately, and as you might expect, this was a very controversial proposition. And so almost as soon as women started voting, men were demanding that they be disenfranchised. But there were numerous attempts that failed, but finally in 1807, after a particularly controversial set of elections, then the New Jersey legislature voted in 1807 to disenfranchise women, along with free black men who were also voting at the same time.
Constitutional Conversations is made possible by a generous grant from the Fairleigh S. Dickinson Jr. Foundation. Constitutional Conversations is made possible by the James Madison Education Fund.